Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of the Aquarius cycle on AstroSoup. And this is all Andy's idea, so we're always looking for fun ways to start the episode. And right now, with everything that's going on, we definitely need a sense of humor. So the more silliness we can um, produce or create. So Andy is going to actually interview me about what it's like to have a stellium, which for the uninitiated is more than 3 planets in Aquarius. And I have five, five lovely and wonderful planets in Aquarius. And I even made little flashcards so we could see what they but first we could, just for the fun of it. And the only reason I'm doing this is because Tracy Quinlan's going to be talking to us about, for God's sakes, charting with astrology or a new book. I'm sorry. Anyway, so she's going to talk about how you can generate a chart on her website. But so you get a sense of what it looks like. This is what my birth chart looks like. And
Oh, that's a lot of planets in Aquarius.
over here we have all the planets in Aquarius. So, where would you like to start, madam?
I have to say that a baby born right now, because there are 5 planets in Aquarius, will be a lot like you, Lesley. But let's interview you
That's a
about what it's
scary
like.
thought.
I know, right? A tiny little you. That'd be so cute. We need to make a Lesley doll. Something for another meeting.
Oh, okay.
But I need to know, when 5 planets in Aquarius, how do you emotionally process things? Since people say Aquarians are very intellectual and cool,
Cool. I'll
cool.
do my best. Um, well, so here's Mercury, which is the earliest planet in my chart. There's happiness is Venus. There's the moon, just
You're
so
gonna have
people
to
get,
put them in front of each other because we can't see them. You're putting them behind each other. There you go.
I guess yeah, I need, and like most Aquarians, I need a little bit of direction at times. Then there's happiness is Jupiter. And finally, we have the sun.
Nice.
So, I think it's taken me most of my life to understand that they kind of all operate together. And so it's not always easy for me to distinguish, which one is actually talking to me. So you asked me about the traditional interpretations of Aquarius, which I sometimes find provocative, but for all the wrong reasons. Uh, so how do I describe my life experience? It popped into my head. It's a gong show. Really, but sometimes it feels like that. How do I emotionally process things? Well, that's an interesting question since my moon is also in Aquarius. Um, well, I always think I have to understand things. I have to figure it all out. And it's not necessarily linear because it's Aquarius, because as linear as Aquarius can be, it can also be like this. It's not always easy to predict. I have my favorite astrological transit story. Transits are what's going on in the sky, and this friend of mine who's also an astrologer, she's an Aquarian. Oh, Uranus was going to go into Aquarius, and we were fine because we really understood Uranus. Nope, it just doesn't work that way, which is always a bit of a challenge for me when I can't understand something. So, one of my bigger challenges in life is to realize I don't have to understand everything. Sometimes it just is what it is. The other point I wanted to make is that about Aquarians have the opportunity to be objective and detached, and those are different than disconnected. That's one of the bigger challenges I have with how Aquarius is described. Um, and it's true. I have been known to say I like people, I just don't like humanity. Uh, They just don't like humans. Not very often, though. Aquarians are intensely curious about other people. Always looking for someone who is authentic. I don't, for me, anyways, I speak from my own experience. It doesn't matter to me whether someone agrees with me or not, as long as, pops into my, as long as they're not badgering me. Because if there's anything Aquarians do not like, do not tell me what to think, is way more, even dislike that even more than we dislike being told what to do. And for Aquarians, freedom is not a concept, it's a way of life. Now, freedom means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but the truth is, Aquarians, and I feel this way myself, and that could be because my Jupiter's there too. Again, I want to forge my own path, and I think that sometimes the reasons Aquarians may withdraw from people is because they just don't feel understood, because they're essentially catalysts. It took me a long time in my life to realize that's what I am. I'm a catalyst, and I don't know what the heck's going to happen when I show up. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I don't know that I heard anything about emotions in there. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just
Oh,
teasing you because you're an Aquarius.
no, it's fine. It's fine. Well, the reason
But I do have another question.
yeah, I just want to explain why I didn't talk about that, because it's hard for me to talk about feelings in my chart without talking about Pluto. That's why I was trying to stick to the Aquarian aspect. And I will say that up until I was 35, I didn't know how I felt about much of anything, to be honest, on any deeper frequency. So
Yeah.
anyway, you had another question.
Okay. What's it like to date somebody who has 5 planets in Aquarius?
How would I know? Oh, no.
Some people marry themselves. I don't know.
Well, and that's fair given that where her Aquarius is in her chart.
I know it's in your 7th house. Maybe you're married to the crowd. Are you married to the crowd?
No,
No.
I don't think so. All
Can
I
I
can
ask a
say,
question
I don't know,
about her
Tammy.
processing her emotions? Would you say, Lesley, that you process your emotions often through talking with somebody else about them?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for that. Thank you for reminding
They're
me.
in the
No,
7th house.
I can't. That is my major, one of the major ways I kind of move things forward, because I can get, like most people, caught up in my feelings, and I need to talk about them, because if I don't get it up and out, since I have so much air in my chart, if I don't get it up and out and don't talk about it or write about it. It's funny though, talking about it works so much better for me than writing about it. I don't keep a journal. At least if I do, it's intermittent.
Yeah.
So
Well,
what's it
okay.
like to date a 5 planets in Aquarius? Well, one thing I can say is that apparently some of the men in my life just never want to forget me and keep on reaching out to me after 50 years even.
That's because Aquarians are cute.
Okay,
Very
well, we'll just put that in the lexicon for Aquarians. Cute.
They're very human. It's a human shape. It's not a beast like a lion or a ram. It's a human. So,
This is true. I never thought about that.
oh yeah, it's a very
You'd
humane
think that
sign.
it would be obvious, but it wasn't to me. Yeah.
You do look like a human and not an alien. So, the last question I have is, since you have Mercury in Aquarius, what do you think the preferred communication style is for Aquarius Mercury? I mean, I know that you said you prefer talking over journaling, but what's the mind frame of a Mercury in Aquarius?
Get to the point.
I know you were a journalist for a long time, and so you did a lot of like anthropological thinking and how are people the way they are and things like that. So,
Well, that's the Aquarian part of me. Thank you for bringing. I didn't want to follow the tried and true path. I had zero interest in covering politics, just because like I covered school board and city hall and stuff like that, and it was really actually boring, because because people consistently say the same things over and over again, and like like automatons. Someone once said to me I'd make a great politician. I said, I don't know who you're talking to, but it ain't me. Um, so a Mercury in Aquarius, yeah, be direct. Um, I don't like lengthy explanations. I like storytelling. Um, I don't know. Does that answer your question? I don't know.
It does. Thank you, Lesley, the humane human.
I like that. I like that a lot. Now I don't really know what to say. Oh, and since this was Andy's idea, my idea was to get Andy and Tracy to share an Aquarian memory of me, which might be maybe even more illuminating than anything that I said. Okay, who wants to go first? Tracy wants to go first.
One time, so Lesley and I, bit of backstory, often meet for dinner. And there's a pattern to the way this happens. Where do you want to go? I don't know. We bandy around some new places we've never tried, and we always end up at the same two restaurants. We get to that restaurant. Lesley bandies around some things she might want to try, but then she always orders one of two things. Now, the conversation came up about whether Aquarius, how fixed Aquarius is. And she was arguing for the fact that perhaps Aquarius as a fixed sign is not that fixed. And so I repeated exactly what I just said to you about this pattern. And you belly laughed, but it took him, like, you had to think about it and take it in and process it first. And then you laughed really hard. So that's my description. And I think that's a pretty good description of how Aquarius operates, right? It likes change. It likes the idea of all these different things, but it is fixed and it does like some predictability as well.
The challenge that I face, as we know, because this is the backstory to why we only go to certain restaurants, is because everybody in my part of the world has suddenly discovered heat in food, like chilies and other things that make food spicy hot, and can't handle it. And I will admit, I am not very adventurous when it comes to food. I sometimes really wish I was, but I'm not. I'm very visual because Mercury conjuncts my Venus. If I don't like the look of something, I don't care I'll never taste it. Never. And as much as I have to say that as much as I keep arguing that Aquarius is not that fixed, when I made up my mind about something, that's it. And I won't change my mind. Except when it comes to astrology. I like to investigate new ideas and see if they speak to me. And because there's a certain amount of inspiration that goes along with it, or lightning bolt inspiration that goes along with Mercury and Aquarius. Um, and I am willing to change my mind.
It's true.
I didn't say it happened frequently. I just said it was
We don't
willing.
meet for the food. We don't meet for the food. We meet for the air in our chart that gets along so well. We both have air Mercuries. We just want to talk. And really, we don't want to be distracted by the menu. So we always order the same stuff and just enjoy the company rather than worry about the food, right?
That's so Aquarian. You're like, I'm here for the conversation. Yes.
And what's your memory?
Okay, well, they say that Aquarians are, very group-oriented people. Now, Leslie's a special Aquarius because she has Leo rising, so she's like this, like, very group focused. She's corralled huge groups for many, many years. But when I met her, it was at the Northwest Astrological Conference where we're in a big, huge sea of astrologers. And all I know is I'm sitting there and out pops this woman who has these nails painted and her hair's all done. And she's just like, just kind of standing out of the crowd. Like there's a sea of people. And then there's this Lesley person. And I'm like, who is this chick? Okay, sorry. That was my real thoughts, not the ones that I edited. But and she just popped right out of the crowd. Like she very much assimilates in the crowd, knows hundreds of people in the crowd, like they all know her. but she's definitely like a standout. And they say Aquarians kind of like mix in and then stand out, and I think it's the Leo rising that does stand out a little bit more than other Aquarians. But I've known you to corral big groups of astrologers for many years, and I think you are a networker and you do bring people together and you are holding space for the astrology community at large. And that's something I've always really
Aw,
respected about you.
that's very Aquarian.
Yes.
Well, Aquarius does want to hold space for people. And it's funny because I said this to Tracy just the other day that um okay, let the carousel come back around. Um
Good
that
one.
um I love authenticity in other people. But Aquarius, for me anyways, does have a Saturnian vibe, even though I resisted, speaking about changing your mind, resisted rulerships for a while. Because when I was younger, you would not have recognized me. I hardly spoke. Not that I didn't want to, I just didn't. I was shy. I retreated at least I thought I was retreating into the background. And I haven't followed up and called up any of the people I knew in high school to see their impression. Anyways, we have lots to get to today. And so, an upcoming episodes in 2 weeks, when we begin the Pisces cycles, Sam Reynolds and I are going to talk. And we haven't discussed that, but I've already decided it's going to be the Saturn Neptune good chunk that's coming up. And for the for the people who are new to understanding anything about astrology, don't worry, we'll explain it all. And then in the second episode, we're probably going to do both of them live because in the second episode, Marlene Chapman's going to come back and we're going to do some stuff around numerology for any of the people who show up and help you find out what your life path is. And Marlene is really excellent. So, and we do, I, not the royal we, I enjoy having her on. So let's get to what's in the bowl. Well, it might seem like a quiet week, but it's not. It's not. It's never quiet in Aquarius. So we begin with Uranus going direct, which it's actually doing later today. So it's the reason why this is so intense is because we still have 5 planets in Aquarius, as Andy pointed out. So it's and Uranus, amongst modern astrologers at any rate, is considered to be the ruler of Aquarius. And either way, there are a lot of similarities between the Uranian energy and the Aquarian energy, whether you think of them as strongly connected as I do. So this means that if you think those planets were lit up before, yeah, it's good. So I made some notes. Imagine that. So, well, I started to say you're going to feel, and then I couldn't figure out exactly how to describe it because you can't always quantify exactly what's going to happen when Uranus does anything. You could have a list of potential things. For some, it's going to feel like liberation, and for others, an inconvenience. Because Uranus is really like the stick of dynamite in the dam of your life. I know I use that analogy a lot, but I think it's because it's really, it focuses the energy in such a way that you understand what the potential of it is. Now, of course, if you feel it waving at you and you've already been feeling the winds of change, and the rumblings of change, because this energy is going to be jangly and jingly and jangly. So it's not going to take much for you to feel like your circuits are overloaded. So really take some time to, the best thing to do when you feel like you're on the precipice of some things coming out of your mouth, or because it is an air sign, that because when Uranus says its thing, you can feel highly irritable and not really know why. So that's important to remember. So for those of you who feel like liberation, you're going to feel freer and less encumbered. And might feel sudden, but it's more a case of things coalescing after months of internal debate to some degree, because we're talking about an air sign. And so if you feel like there's some part of your life that you've been trying to get under control and you just can't get it under control, Uranus going direct is going to tell you, well, that's not what it's about. It's really not about getting anything under control. It's about looking to see where your deeper discomfort is and what kind of change that might be signaling to you. Because Aquarian thinking has quite a bit of intuition attached to it. It's like at the end of my second year of university, after I thought I was going to be a translator, suddenly I decided I wanted to be a journalist, reporter. So I told my mother that, and she said, "Why?" And I said, "I don't know. Seems like a good idea to me." That's Mercury, that's Aquarian energy. You get an inkling, something drops in, and suddenly just feels right, even though you don't know why. So if it feels like the foundations of your life are being shaken up, you're not making things up. The key is, but you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Just so the challenge that we sometimes face when we feel change coming is, well, let's just get rid of everything. That's not always a wise idea. So you have to really look to the deeper reasons why you're feeling out of place. Because Aquarius, Uranus and Aquarius can really make you feel like you're out of place. Like, what's my place? Where do I belong? Well, with Sun and Aquarius, I think at this particular point in time, because we have to take into account what sign Uranus is actually going, what sign it's not in Aquarius right now, but it is Aquarius season, is what I'm trying to say. So that amplifies that energy, and it kind of goes along with all the messages we've been getting about shifts taking place with Neptune and Saturn changing signs and a whole bunch of other stuff. So
Wait,
again,
let me ask a question.
sure.
So you're talking about Uranus because Uranus is kind of like one ruler of Aquarius. I mean,
Yeah.
you're just saying what's in the bull in general, but you're also saying that because Uranus is at home in Aquarius, that it's
Yeah.
kind of an important shift. Okay.
Yeah. Well, at this time, it would be happy to make this shift in Aquarius territory.
Well, can I add a little bit too? Because with all the planets in Aquarius, they all have to square Uranus before they move into Pisces. So that energy is getting triggered all month long as well. So that
Yeah.
adds to that dynamic.
So what Tracy's talking about, for those who are not astrology wise, there's a tension aspect that creates and amplifies that inner attention that I was talking about. So thanks so much, because for other people, it's going to feel scary and overwhelming. And so all I can really suggest is, I don't know what just popped into my head, go get in the bathtub, go sit in a bath, and just, it might feel like you're being turned inside out in some way. And it's not always easy to connect to actual feelings. Although, because I always find it interesting, because Andy and I talked about this before, what we think that, in the constellation, it looks like he's pouring out water when actually it's energy. And yay, props. Love props.
Stars. Pouring out stars.
Yeah. So that's why the energy feels so jangly, is because it's not easily corralled or controlled. So find ways to ground yourself. And a bath is always, especially at the end of the day, is always a good way just to calm your whole body and your whole system down. Right, Tracy? Because Tracy is not just an astrologer, but she's an acutonics practitioner and understands things about the body that I don't understand. I try my best. I try my best. Um, this is an invitation to grow, and outside, it's like coloring outside the box. And whatever that looks like to you, like, here's the interesting thing. we tend to believe that words have a single meaning, but there is our emotional response to those words. So if the word change scares the living daylights out of you, then I might suggest that, you think about the way a plant grows. There are challenges in growing, but it doesn't take the path that is hardest. It chooses the path that is a little more straightforward. I didn't say, I mean, growing is not easy. If you look, I mean, we know this from growing things. It's not easy. And it's not any different for humans. But if you can ground your thinking in that way and you think of yourself as a flower, I don't know, or one of the vegetables in the that Andy's always pouring when we're talking about Astro Soup, sometimes finding images is really important because it can help you process things and be more open in your consciousness. Okay, so I have to talk a little faster, so we're just going to jump over some of the things that I wrote down. Oh, that's interesting. So Mercury and Venus are the other major event this week is Mercury and Venus are going to go into Pisces. Now, this will give us all a breather. Things will feel a little softer, a little kinder, a little more gentle. So just, be aware of that. And so Mercury moves in on the 6th and Venus on the 10th. So just take some time and allow your imagination. Maybe that's why I said have a bath, because guess what? Pisces loves water. You guys have anything to add to that before we move on? Yes, no, maybe?
I wanted to comment on something that you said about how this time is feeling. And with Uranus going direct today, and then Jupiter us ramping up towards Jupiter going direct, and then ramping up towards the outers all being in air and fire. So it almost feels like being pulled back in slingshot. Like and then as the energy starts to shift, it's going to go so quickly. And so I think that could be kind of that energy that people are feeling, is that kind of anticipation of how things are going to shift quite rapidly this year.
One thing I would just say about Pisces, when things start to move into Pisces, because we have had 5 planets going through Aquarius, is that Pisces kind of cleans out the emotions that have happened as planets have gone through Aquarius. There's a lot of cerebral group think that happens in Aquarius, and people, have feelings about what has been decided and politically and socially. And then I think when planets go into Pisces, we kind of wash away some of the hard feelings about that phase. So it'll get a little bit softer, like Lesley was saying, and just a little more emotional.
Well, of course, because Pisces is the I always think of Pisces Neptune as like the world of all possibilities. Like your imagination can take you wherever you want to. And you know what? Um, One of the things my teachers always said about me when I was in elementary was that I talked too much and I daydreamed too much. All things that are really important to how I live my life. So daydreaming and dreaming and letting your imagination run wild. No, nobody can stop that. Nobody can stop that. And sometimes I think we get caught up because we think that we think we can't think or feel or imagine beyond the end of our nose because we get so caught up in day-to-day third dimensional life. And we are not just physical beings, we are emotional, spiritual, and intellectual beings. And we have to find ways to nurture all of those. And for some people with so many plants in Aquarius, maybe it is time for you to take some time and just think for a while. Just see what pops into your consciousness. You don't even have to, have a specific target in mind. Just let your mind run wild. Of course, I do that on a regular basis, so it's been good for me. No.
Well, there's a carousel up there last time I heard.
Um, I'm so happy to welcome Tracy back to share stuff with us. Um, and now are you going to show us your book? Show us your book.
Okay, I'm gonna go camera off because it's an interview time. Okay.
Okay.
This is it. I think it's backwards, but
Okay,
I
well,
like it.
hang on because we're going to try to do something that
I think I can do it.
I did it. Are you playing at the same time I'm playing?
Mhm.
I put the pin and then okay.
There, now you can see it frontwards, right?
I thought I could see it frontwards last time.
Oh,
I was
okay, good.
yeah.
Cool.
So,
Yeah,
um, well, we all know that I love this book,
thank you.
and what I loved about it is just about everything. I can't really think of anything about it that I just love the way you put everything together. But this is you get to talk about your book. I could talk about it for a while, but that's not why you're here. You're still listening to me talk about your book. So, what
What
would
do you
you like to share with us?
what do I want to share with you? I know it's funny because I've been talking about it all day and I feel like I've told the same stories over and over again. And everybody wants to know, where did it come from and why did I write it, that kind of thing. And so it's kind of wild because I feel, first of all, it takes a long time from birth to spitting it out. So I have to get reconnected with it because I haven't worked on it for quite a while. And so that's been an interesting assignment, I guess. It's like it doesn't even feel like I necessarily wrote it in some ways. Um,
Oh, I
and
know that.
that's been how it's been with writing for me always from the beginning. I write something, I don't see it for a while, I come back and I go, oh, I can string words together, not too bad, that's all right, I don't hate that.
I've had the
So
same kinds of experiences myself. It's like, wow.
yeah, so that's been happening, but you know one of the things that I haven't said that I keep forgetting to say, I've been talking about how the point of the book, was to self-reflect. If people are finding that they're attracting the same people in relationships or finding themselves in the same relationship pattern over and over again, the wish for the book is to do some self-reflection, see maybe where the patterns are coming from and maybe adjust and find a new way to look at it. But the other thing is that, and the other audience I had in mind was it is an entire technique. So if an astrologer, practicing astrologer, wanted to go into doing more relationship astrology work, this book um, is a great way to start because you're looking at all the planets involved. It gives you exactly which houses to be looking at and how to look at them. So that is something I haven't talked about yet and something that I think would be pretty useful. What do you think? You read it?
It it brought in things in terms of and this in terms of astrological analysis that I hadn't thought of and I'd never heard anybody talk about. But the other thing I liked about it is that if you don't know anything about astrology, you can actually read this book, and if you have a copy of your chart, and uh, Tracy's going to share with me the link to her website, or I mean, I can find it. She can, I can get you to her website. I don't know if I can get you to you can generate your chart. So, for those of you who have never, you may be interested in astrology, you may have even seen your birth chart before. However, if you, it might be a good idea to go to Tracy's website and generate the chart again because her technique is based on the house system and everything that she uses herself. So, and I find that it's such a fascinating way to look at it. And it's practical, but also spiritual at the same time. It's emotional, it covers all the bases. It's not it. I mean, because I went through and did some of them exercises, not all of them, because that's another thing Aquarians don't like to do. They don't like to do the things they're supposed to do. I, um, not because I didn't find the exercises helpful or useful. It's just I get resistant. So if I just thought it was probably the most complete way to look at uh, how to be in relationship, how to ask yourself the questions and ask your partner. And this doesn't necessarily even have to be about a love relationship. It can be any kinds of relationships that you have with children, with friends. How many times have most of us asked, why is this happening? Why is this happening? I especially like the part I get to blow you. It is to the horn for you is the part where you look at the chart and it shows people where they're most likely to meet someone. I
Yep.
thought that was fresh and new. Not that the whole book's approach wasn't fresh and new, but that was, and there are a couple of other things which currently I cannot remember because I read the book months ago before it was actually published. I was very honored to write a blurb for the back of the book, so and it gave me a lot of pleasure to do that. But I seem to be doing most of the talking, so I'm gonna. This is what.
I mean, that's one of the really lovely things about people who read it before it was published, all astrologers, and all said the same thing, that it brought something new to them, which, and everybody's a seasoned astrologer. So to me, that's the highest compliment. Absolutely. But originally it was actually that Where to Find Love, and it was a short ebook before it was self-published, before it was sent to Llewellyn to become sort of the whole package. And I agree, there's very little out there about where to, the houses in terms of location. And so yeah, it's pretty robust in terms of just giving you ideas of um, not just places but activities, right? And one of the people who reviewed it said she laughed when she read it because um, her partner has his seventh house ruler in the first, and one of the suggestions is like solo traveling for reconnecting to yourself. And that's exactly what he was doing when they met. He took a trip to where she lived and he was just doing a reconnection to himself when they met. And I just thought, oh, that was so great to hear. I'm drying my mouth out.
You've
Yeah.
been sipping a
So
lot today.
hello, Wendy.
Hi,
Nice
Wendy.
to see you.
Hi, sorry I'm late. I just looked up at the clock and went, oh no, it's already happening.
Well, you make your entrance when you make your entrance. That's the way I look at it.
So
Anyway,
true.
um, so is there anything else you'd like to say? Because apparently questions are not popping into my head.
Well, I was just going to say that you had mentioned that it's not just for astrologers. I mean, there's a pretty robust description on how to find these things in your chart and appendixes and
Mhm.
all that stuff. And originally with the first ebook, it was just like my dream was to see women get together and drink a lot of wine, or groups of friends get together and drink wine and go places, like do group events in these places that are in the book as suggestions, different, just try something different. Because one of the points I was trying to get at is we're told that we're supposed to follow all these same patterns in relationships. You have a meet cute, and then you romance, and then you get married. There's supposed to be an order to it. And if you've been doing astrology long enough, like almost nobody follows, their charts don't follow that pattern, right? Just like there's no binary in terms of who
Well,
you date, who you are sexually, like that. It's a spectrum,
life
and
experience
everybody.
teaches you that too.
Who teachers?
Life experience teaches you that too. Like if you sat around and talked to all your friends, it's unlikely you all met your partners the same way. And
Yeah.
yeah, and it's rare that in the moment you actually know that something's significant.
Or
Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
and not everybody is designed for monogamy, right? And one of the ways the whole looking at the chart in this way came about was through a client who I'd never met her before, and she said she'd been in this 30-year, marriage that was passionless, and she was sort of saying she wished she hadn't have spent so much time there, and there was zero connection between her fifth, eighth, and seventh house. And I just flippantly said, well, maybe you should have had an affair. And then kind of thought, oh, I don't know you well enough. And she got really quiet. So that's another reason why I panicked. And then she went, no, you're right. I probably could have, because in terms of the marriage piece of it, she was perfectly content, but all those other bits weren't in there. And then I thought, oh, well, that's not the first time I've had a conversation with somebody and they either were having an affair or, that they were getting that fulfilled in a different way. I just hadn't looked at the astrology that way before. And I think it's valid. I think that, we all have a different love story. So that's where it came from.
And as you're talking, it really does show people that astrology really does have something practical to add to your life, that it can offer guidance and understanding. I'm not so sure that, the attraction to astrology is growing and growing, but still, I think it always seems to be a bit of a challenge in certain spaces and places for people to understand it actually does have a practical application, and not just in a practical, but emotionally, spiritually, and intellectually. So, well, of course, I think that why would you be here and not want to know yourself?
Listen, some people are not here to self-reflect.
I know.
And we wouldn't know that because we wouldn't meet them
Power.
very often.
What did you say, Wendy?
Money, power.
Yeah, that's true.
Yikes. Yikes is all I have to say to that. So, well, of course, I would encourage people to buy this book and have some fun with it. Like, it's not, it's meant to be enlightening, not, not necessarily even instructual. That's not even a word. Instructive. It's meant for people to open up their awareness. And of course, you can't really do that without a practical foundation, but still, I really love the fact that you invited people to look at relationship, just not in terms of and relationships of all kinds, not just how you get it, but what happens, and what's motivating you. Like, I remember when I decided not to be married anymore, I don't know why I was wise enough to think I'd better, I picked him. So I maybe should figure out why I did that. So this is where self-knowledge actually is practical in my mind. Any other closing words?
Don't have any closing words. I mean, it was a super fun project to create, and hopefully people feel the joy in it when they read it.
I did.
For those of us who were late, can you give the name of your book? Love with Astrology. Charting Love with Astrology. Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
Great. Have I said that enough times?
Thank
I'm
you.
going to figure out how to date an Aquarius.
You want to figure out how to date an Aquarius?
Yeah, 5 planets in Aquarius.
Well, you get to date me every week. What are you talking about?
Yes.
All right. Actually, it would be interesting to see how Tracy's technique works when you're applying to a host and a producer's charts.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, I'll read the book and then we can talk about that on an episode.
Why not?
Sounds good.
Congratulations
What else is
on
there
your
to
book,
talk about?
Tracy.
Thank you, Andrea.
Yeah, for sure. I look
Was
forward to seeing it. I'm really sorry I missed the first part because I'm going, what did she talk about now?
we were doing some silly stuff around what it's. I was being quizzed about my 5 plants in Aquarius before we got to Tracy's bed. Anyway, so well, thanks again, Tracy.
Thanks for letting me talk about it.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And so we're going to do some color cards now. And then we're going to move on to making a new segment I call Making Friends with Planets. And Wendy, you're welcome to join us when we get there, because we're going to be talking about Neptune, because it just moved into Happiness is Aries. So, anyway, so I picked a couple of color cards, and I picked them ahead of the episode just in case we ran out of time. And because of course there is nothing that I like more than talking. So things can get out of control. We can get to the end and then I have no space or time left to do what was on my production list. So this is fun because the first this is the card I picked for your color card for Uranus going direct. It's chocolate.
Chocolate.
And it says,
As in we're going to
nourish
need a
your
lot of it?
body and your soul. What did you say, Wendy?
As in we're going to need a lot of it?
Probably.
Excuse me, I have to tend to
Probably.
my kitchen, but I'm still listening.
Yeah, so it says, nourish your body and soul.
Okay then.
And then this is, so I love synchronicity when it happens. So I picked a card for Mercury and Venus going into Pisces. This is the 3rd time that I have picked this card since the beginning of the year.
Wow. Pearl. Oh my God, I'm wearing pearls.
Look at that.
Oh my God, it's synchronicity. I wasn't wearing pearls the last 2 times though, if I was being real. But
Maybe
today
it's a sign that you finally tuned energy. I don't know.
finally tuned in to the show. It's about
And
time.
it strengthened your connection with the divine.
Oh.
And it's funny because whenever we pick that, I don't know. I mean, I think everybody has a different definition of what that means. And it doesn't really matter what your definition is. What it does is it helps you get outside, and get connected to the fact that you're a multi-frequency being that has resources that you're not always aware of. So I think that in this year, with so much fire and air, it's going to be important to strengthen your connection with the divine.
Well, I had picked this card for the show. It's the star card. It's the Aquarius card, and it's all about your highest self pouring down. That's why I'm wearing Star State. Look at that star. It's pouring down the star. It's like your chart. So that is so crazy that I picked this card for today. It's your highest self.
That's the Aquarius card in the tarot deck.
Yes, right there. Aquarius.
Yeah, we were playing with that the other day. We have fun in our production meetings.
We do.
Okay.
Because you have 5 planets in Aquarius, and everything is fun.
Well, it's not always fun, let me tell you. And I'm speaking of the virus that refuses to move out. Okay. So now we're going to, huh?
Are you past that now or?
No.
No.
5 weeks. We're in the 5th week now.
Is it packing its bags? At least?
I've called it a cab. My friend Lily in London always says, call it a cab. I've called it a cab. I've talked nicely to it. It's probably it's moved around my body and now it's hanging out on my stomach.
Lovely.
Oh, whatever. This is the
Saturn
price
Neptune square your Uranus.
well, not yet. They're gearing up.
All right. There's something called orb, Lesley. It's an orb.
I really? I never would have guessed.
Oh, I'm in trouble
Okay.
now.
Uh, as I said at the beginning of this episode, we need a lot of laughter and silliness because of the intensity of the energy that we're dealing with. Because of course Pluto's in Aquarius, and so um, he really is insisting that everybody pay attention to him. Certainly hanging out with my stellium. So now we're going to move on to that new segment. I I don't know why. I just get these ideas. Very Aquarian, making friends with planets. And part of it is it might be a good idea for us to sometimes think of the planets as not sort of just objects. I mean, one of my pet peeves is when people say, "So what are the planets doing to us?" And I would say nothing. Anyway, now there are probably people who disagree with me because, of course, there is some um, physics that proves that what I just said is probably not true. But I guess the reason I resist it is because this notion that life happens from the outside in always kind of triggers me a little bit because it's other way around. So we're going to talk about Neptune. So let's can we talk about and everybody's going to join in. And can we talk about the qualities of Neptune, both light and dark? And how do you make friends with that? Who wants to go first?
Can you say that again, please? I was trying to look at something.
Can we talk about the qualities of Neptune, light and dark, and how we might make friends with those energies? Like, what can we do?
I remember there was an astrologer from Southern Ontario whose name was Anne Toth, and she once said that Neptune was something that people would say, "I got it, I finally got Neptune," and then they go, "No, I don't got it." And they just go back and forth between them, and I totally get that. It really is very nebulous and really hard to put your finger on, and it's like trying to catch a cloud. And as soon as you try, you've lost it. And so, and being born with a Saturn-Neptune conjunction, which we are also going through right now by transit, it's an extra difficulty. And so Neptune has always been a challenge for me. It's like I can't just believe in something. To me, it's like I start to itch. if I don't have something that I can put my finger on.
That's your Saturn Neptune conjunction.
Yeah. And
Is it in
Virgo
Libra?
moon. I'm sorry?
Is it in Libra?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Libra.
well then, and of course Saturn's exalted in Libra, so it's going to have its way no matter.
I was thinking that an exalted planet could be said to be kind of entitled in the
100%.
sign.
So we're getting low on time, so
Oh, sorry.
I'm just going to give
no,
a
it's not your
word
fault.
that was given to me about Neptune when I was having a rough transit. And somebody said it's all about faith, having faith. And that actually, all of the stress I was feeling because my intuition was not working properly. And I could not count on what I'd always counted on from messages that I would get. As soon as I sort of relaxed into it and just had faith and trusted that things were going to work out the way they were supposed to, it made it all a lot easier. So
That's certainly one way to make friends, Andrea.
Well, I think making friends is very Aquarian, by the way. And I would say that Neptune on the brightest side is a very Hollywood effect where you use all the tricks of your life, whether it be color theory, astrology, composite charts, all the magical tricks to make life seem like heaven on earth. And I I really do think heaven on earth is Neptune at its best.
Well, for me, if something needs to be dissolved, it needs to be dissolved. And out of that fog will come clarity. But it's Wendy's right. It's not easy to hang out with Neptune. It really isn't. It's highly visual, so meditation is good. Just sitting by yourself, sometimes staring. Art is one of the things. Dance, those things are really helpful.
Music for me.
Huh?
Music for
you. I like music and art and dance.
I have certain music that I put on when I need to be in a Neptunian space. And I just melt into it. It's just absolutely gorgeous.
You knew how to make friends with your Neptune?
I came to learn how.
Well, is that what we're here doing? Learning about all the energies that we were born with? Because it's not like we came with well, unless you study astrology, and then maybe you have something like an operator's manual, but...
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, well, we could talk a little bit more about this. I have about a minute, but I want to, does anybody have anything else they'd like to say about making friends with Neptune? It's kind of hard to do, right? It's like reach out and disappear.
Well, I would say get rid of people who lie to you. I hate the lies of Neptune. Like no one's ever like, oh, I love when that person lied to me. Like no one's ever said that ever. So like someone has a tendency to lie, then they're like a Neptune killer.
That's the other thing about Neptune. It can actually make you can get so lost in it that you actually believe that what's coming out of your mouth is the truth, even though it's a lie. So it's a very interesting guy to hang out with. Maybe we'll have to talk about him again some other time, because I just wanted to wrap it up with wrap it up. And I had two quotes. Growth and comfort do not coexist.
Wait, what's the first word?
Growth.
Oh, growth.
Growth and comfort do not exist. That Ginny Rometty, I don't never really love the quote. And then I love, this is the funny one. If you want a guarantee, buy a toaster. Clint Eastwood. Just have to end on a laugh and a giggle.
Yes.
So I want to thank everybody for my guests, all, and my producer for showing up. And because if you show up for the podcast, you're a guest. So I really appreciate everybody sharing their thoughts and their ideas and their humor and laughing at me. That's good. I enjoyed that too.
With you.
So until next time, be true to yourself. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Lesley. Good to see you. Good to see you all.
Okay. Yeah.